Well,
Hi.
hello again.
Hello again. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you doing?
Tired, stressed?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we keep it real. We keep it
Little
honest.
bit, little
Yeah.
bit, little bit. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I was just thinking actually, just before I popped on here, is like how I don't even have children. Like meaning, how do people do it? How do people do full-time work and things on the side and but like bless your hearts, people.
Did something happen in particular that prompted you to say that, or just as a
No,
general?
just as a general, I was just thinking about it, like that,
Mhm.
you know, yeah, that was it. That's it.
Wow, it's true, and I kind of like how we have like the black and the white, the yin, the yang. Kind of like look at how we're dressed.
I know. Did you, and you know, and well, welcome to getting juicy. Welcome to
Juicy.
I don't know, stressy.
Hey, we keep it real, we keep it stressed, we keep it calm, we keep it everywhere. So come as you are.
Breathe in with me and breathe out through the mouth.
Boobs.
Wow. Boobs. What? Like, that's the last thing that should be in your mind. Not should. I just know you. Sorry, people. Like, meaning that that would be the last thing that's typically would be on your mind. Okay, that was interesting. Um, Gosh, I lost my train of thought completely. Oh yeah, black and white. Okay, the colors. Yeah, yesterday when we were recording with, and we'll just say the guest's name because it'll be out before this one is out, with the one and only Corey Wade yesterday. We were actually, did you notice that we were also in sync? Like you were wearing like a maroony burgundy top, and then I kind of put my leg up like this because I was like, my pants are the same color.
I
And I'm
was
like,
focused on him, not you, so I
I'm
didn't
sure
see
that's
that.
okay. And I was like, well, this is really, it looks really good in the frame, you know? Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you wearing, wait, but here's the real trick. Are you wearing white bottoms?
Well, did you just see my knee?
Oh yeah, no. So the answer is no.
But in bottoms, do you mean like maybe I'm
Pants,
wearing
not
white
underwear.
underwear?
Oh, are you so pure and Virgin Mary or
No,
whatever?
no,
Virgin
no.
Rachel?
White underwear, actually, okay, this is like all over the place. Speaking of white underwear, my husband bought me some underwear and because he is so sick. Okay, ladies out there, those that get periods, I'll just say, wow, I'm so all over the place. For those that get periods, do you have out there, this is the question, your period panties, like the underwear that is like not your favorite underwear just in case there's an accident? Because I'm pretty sure like every person I've ever talked to that gets a period will say, yeah, we've got like the shitty underwear that we wear during our periods. And so this is so, wow, okay, a lot of information.
I love that. I love
So my husband's like so sick of like these ugly ass underwear. I'm like, okay, whatever, but they're just my comfortable period underwear, whatever. So he bought a bunch of pairs of underwear to like replace them. But guess what one of them was? White. And I'm like, okay, maybe you thought they were nice looking, but like you obviously don't understand the whole, you know, the premise behind what that was all about. But anyway, no, white underwear. Wow, that was quite the story. White underwear. Nah, it's nah. Like, you know how it would just, I'm sure it's pretty for like one day or one session.
Pretty for a photo shoot.
Yeah, and then that's it.
And then just, just keep the like the bra or the corset or the negligee or the goiter or something that's white, but around the area, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just being I mean, come on.
Yeah. Why gotta be white?
Stuff happens down there.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of things happen down there. Lots of natural responses in the body.
Exactly. We're all about keeping it real and natural and all those things.
Okay, so anyway,
yeah,
I'm Hero.
And I'm Rachel. We already said welcome to Getting Juicy, Hero.
Anyway,
can say it
so
again.
we're good.
Wow.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So our guest for today is actually kind of in a little bit of a theme, unintentional theme to another guest that we had, whose episode, like Rachel said, will be out when this comes out, and that would be kind of in the same line as Kendall Gender, who we just had, who is the runner-up or the third alternate from Drag Race Canada season 2. And we have Synthia Kiss, also who in Out of Drag is referred to as Daniel Finland, joining us on the show today. And Daniel is a local Vancouverite right now, but initially moved from Peterborough, Ontario, and then from Toronto, and has a background in fashion design from Ryerson, and worked with a few different companies, including a company that I have worked for as well, Kit and Ace. Was a designer in residence, and then came and moved to Vancouver in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, to help with being a designer full-time for the menswear design in house. And since
still
then,
doing that?
No, as far as looking at their background and their history, that was quite a while back. So, and then for a few years, up until I think about in 2020, Daniel was also working for MEC, or Mountain Equipment Co-op, and doing, I think, like the lead color designer, I believe, I remember correctly. So then through that background in fashion design, I'm very curious to learn about Daniel's drag brand of Synthia Kiss, and kind of that idea of fashion, clothing, makeup, and artistry, and then putting that into being not only just a very funny, down-to-earth human being. Again, we had this thing, an interesting, funny, like they're interchangeable words. But
yes,
I was connected through Daniel, thankfully, from a friend of mine, Shannon O'Rourke, who works for Doer and is the marketing manager there, who I have connected with in my time when I was working with the company. Yeah. And so Daniel's partner, Vincent, is a designer at Doer more recently. So I was able to connect with Shannon, and then thought about asking her if Daniel would be interested. And so Vincent helped connect us to Daniel / Synthia. Amazing. And so it's amazing how the power of human connection and understanding how people get along in the world, that you're never too disconnected from people that are making a difference in society and our culture.
No, it's like that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
Of Kevin Bacon? Did you say bacon? I'm hungry.
Yeah, Kevin. Okay, that 6 degrees of separation or whatever. Yeah, but did you never? Can I have looking it up? This was 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It was a where did that even come from? It was a book, but it was, there we go. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is a parlor game where players, it's a game. Okay, so it was this famous, I don't know, this famous game or something, or a theory of like that there's always 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. I don't know. It was a long time ago. You never heard of that?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Okay.
This is 6 degrees of separation I've heard of.
Yeah, it was a play on words, and I don't know.
But I always thought about that. I always thought when you say bacon, every time I think about bacon, it reminds me of my friend who was on episode 8, I believe, of our podcast, Genevieve Clements. Hope she's doing well in Costa Rica. She really wants to always want to have a pet potbelly pig
and name it Bacon.
Yeah. Well, I said she should name it Bacon, and she's like, "Oh my god, yes." But short for Kevin Bacon, though, not because of it.
Okay. Or call it Kevin. Canadian bacon. CV. Canadian bacon.
Yes.
Back bacon. Is that what Canadian bacon is?
Yeah, it is.
There's a difference.
There is a difference.
For those that don't know, wow, we're like really all over the place. Really all over the place today. There is your regular strips of bacon, and then there's Canadian bacon. Canadian bacon is like the big thick slabs of back bacon, and that is Canadian bacon, and that's a thing.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't actually, and I am not a vegetarian. I do eat more meat or plant-based, but I've never really been a fan of bacon ever. ever in my
I
life.
was such a huge fan of bacon. I was the person that go to the buffet and grab like 20 strips, not knowing anything about its nutritional value, and just load up on that bacon. It was the most like gratifying crispiness, fattiness, texture of anything, you know. So anyway, I mean, like very related to everything else we just spoken about, but that's as candid as we get, and that's how we go. That's how we do it.
Absolutely. Now, is this a surprise as to how we're receiving our guests as Daniel or Synthia? Like we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
Oh, okay. So if you're still with us, thank you. And if you're still with us, you will also get the surprise of how our guests will present. Today in any moment. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's
very
super
nice.
Exciting.
Well, and it's so cool, like that Daniel's partner, like they're both in the same industry. They both, and to somebody we've had a couple of drag artists that we've had on the show. Most of them, I would say, all have a bit of a background, at least in fashion or makeup or hair. I don't know about hair, but typically fashion.
Yep.
Or performance and yeah. So that's, I'm trying to think of somebody that maybe didn't necessarily. No,
in terms of people we've spoken with, I think everyone has had some kind of link to part of what they do in their drag, part of their career, their artistry. I do find, though, there are probably quite a lot of drag personalities out there that didn't have anything prerequisite or that came from influence, more so wanted to embody who they are or a part of who they thought they couldn't achieve without embodying that alter ego or personality or inner spirit that's within them, kind of like Yo Mama Jones, all that stuff. Mama Jones, sorry. I was like, Yo Mama? No, that sounds right.
That's cute, actually, because and that's someone we've had on the show before as well, but that's really funny because I was actually almost wanted to say Yo Mama because Yo Mama, but I like Joe Mama is awesome as well.
Joe Mama is fantastic. Shout out to Daniel Alexander Jones, who was with us about a month ago now already. I can't believe how fast time flies.
Absolutely, yeah. I know. And so, yay!
That's the background.
I was like, oh wait, that's a still image.
That's a still image.
That's a still shot. That was a still shot. That wasn't you.
Hi guys.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm so good. Can you hear me?
We can totally hear you just fine. Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
I love it because Daniel, we were like, we don't really know how who we're going to receive as our guest today. Is it going to be Synthia? Is it going to be Daniel? And we're kind of doing a little countdown, which was kind of cute. And then
I'm sorry.
No.
Don't be sorry. No,
why are you sorry? Oh my gosh,
it's great.
I love it. But what was cute was that all of a sudden your
my name on the screen is
and it was
Synthia.
just like but it was also like your
a
picture.
boy image, isn't it? It's like, is it a still shot?
It's a still shot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're outside. No, you're not. Okay.
They're like, why are you doing this from a mirror in a fitting room?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. And we wouldn't hold it against anybody if they did to. They could do it from a glory hole. It wouldn't matter at all, as long as they're
Kendall's making me look bad because she did her interview in full drag. And so I saw that and I was like, oh girl, she's just always in phase. I love her. She's got the best work ethic.
Oh,
how
absolutely.
are you?
We're doing just fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Rachel, I think, just finished work and I'm unemployed, so I'm doing great. I mean, no complaints.
I love that honesty. How do you say your name? Is it Hero?
It's Hero, yeah.
Okay, fabulous. I saw that and I was like, that's a really cool name, Hero Prince. I was
you.
like,
Right?
you have like a stage name. It's amazing. If you
Stop.
think about it, like, welcome to the stage, Hero Prince. I love it.
Stop! You make me the
Rachel Rosen is a good name.
I was gonna say, come on.
I just leave it at that, and Rachel's here. Anyways,
I was like, send me a kiss, put me in drag already. God,
right?
Stop.
Oh my God. Hey, so when do you want to get recording or whatever? Or are we recording?
We are recording.
Yeah, we are
Is that
recording.
okay?
Yeah.
I haven't said anything I regret. Perfect.
No,
not at all.
Oh my God, you guys, I have a creaky chair that I need to switch out. You guys are going to be mad at me.
Oh,
it's my creaky wooden chair. I'm going to switch to this other one that I use for my podcast. Uno momento. I'm so unprofessional.
No, that's so
it's
perfect.
all good.
I
I
love.
love. Oh, look at.
Oh my God! Look at the wardrobe.
I love it. I love it. I know he
Oh my
can't hear us,
God.
but
No.
I love it.
Okay,
I love it
way
because
better.
that was amazing because when you left, because of your background, we actually saw your wardrobe for a
Oh my
moment.
God.
It's amazing.
Thank
Oh
you.
my God.
I literally am in such a
Yeah.
tiny little space, Vancouver living, that like
Yep.
my living room is also my office and is also
Yes.
my like dressing room. So it's
Yes.
you just see it all. I'm just living vulnerably. That's how I do it here.
That's how we do it
That's
too,
our
though.
podcast.
Heart on
It's
our
all good.
sleeves.
Oh,
Everything
I like
hangs out,
that.
untucked
Yeah.
all the way. Just
We bleed
real.
for you.
We bleed for
Listeners who
you. We do
listen.
too. So I'll refer to you as Daniel if it doesn't make a difference, or
You
both.
can call me Cynthia if you
Cynthia,
want. I
Daniel,
think for
whatever.
this stuff, like
Yep.
public facing stuff, it's easy.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're gonna be like,
perfect.
who are you talking about? So yeah,
Yeah.
Cynthia is totally cool for the
Okay.
pod.
Amazing. Great. Good to know. Thank you for clarifying that, Cynthia.
For our audio listeners, I'm in full drag.
Right?
Wow.
So Cynthia, I introduced you a little bit,
I love it.
partially about, of course, what your accolades are and where you are, of course, coming from being in reality TV. I did do a little creeping, and
Oh my God, I love that.
I know I did a little creeping.
Did you add me on LinkedIn? Did I see
did.
that?
Yeah, I did add you on LinkedIn. Yeah. Yes. And the
I love
Funny.
LinkedIn when you
I
can
do
like see who
too.
creeps your profile.
It's
I'm like,
great.
you have
I
to be
know.
so careful with the LinkedIn
You
clicks,
have to be so careful. But what I
Yes.
noticed though is that, again, so I'm assuming you might have an idea of how I was able to get connected with you and how I learned about you on a personal note. But I was explaining to our listeners and viewers and to Rachel that I was connected through your partner Vincent from my
Yes.
friend Shannon at Doer. And
That's
so
so
I was
cool.
like, this is such a small world.
Mhm.
So then when I also learned that you used to be with Kid and Ace for a little bit,
Yes.
I also moved to Kid and Ace as an educator and as a shop lead before I left the company and in its current
fun.
inception. So there's a lot of similarities in fashion.
When were you
and
there?
design. I literally was at Kid and Ace from like basically July of 2021 to like December or like middle of January this year. Yeah, so like helped reopen the Gastown shop and was a shop lead in there for a little bit. And
Memories.
yeah,
That's where I met my boyfriend. I've been dating him like almost ever since. We didn't date while we were both working there, but essentially once he left, it was a little more appropriate to date, and then like off and on. But yeah, that's how we met. I've met so many cool people because of that job, and then like, yeah, it's a small industry, man. Like, be nice to everybody.
Be nice to
Absolutely.
everybody. Absolutely.
And so we'll dive right in here because you just mentioned your boyfriend, and I know you both have similar backgrounds of what you do as your day job.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Totally. So before the pandemic, we both would have considered ourselves like product apparel designers.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for Mountain Equipment Co-op as a color designer. That was my most recent gig, where I got to play with Pantone chips and colorways for backpacks and like kids wear, anything for the private label team.
Yeah.
It was a lot of hustle, but I loved it. Really cool people as well. But you know, the co-op wasn't performing 10 out of 10 financially, and with COVID, it just like they fell over while they were already struggling. So our whole team, like they let go of a ton of people, myself included. So when we started this Pandemi Lovato, I was unemployed. I'm barely speaking English.
I love it. I love it.
I was a Jessica Simpson, and essentially I was just looking for work, looking to, you know, pick up my next gig. And so that was why I was so open to auditioning to the second season of Canada's Drag Race, because I was like in this influx state. So that it all happens for the right reason. So yeah.
Absolutely it does.
Absolutely. So are you still, so what are you doing now then? Are you still?
Oh, well, now I'm like full-time queen. You wouldn't believe it. I didn't answer this interview in full drag. So I'm sounding really lazy right now, but like I had a busy day. I'm getting ready for my podcast, Semi-Qualified Queens.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
We'll plug. We'll talk about that later. But essentially, this is Synthia. I incorporated. I'm like my own little small business now. I run my merch. I do live bookings. No, I'm just doing like everything full pedal to the metal, and just kind of leaving my corporate 9 to 5 to the side right now, because we can kind of do it. And Vincent has the stable income, so I can be the weird wacky bookings that are, you know, come when they come. And it's, you know, it's been a wild ride ever since the show came out. So it's really cool to meet people like you, like everything. It's a really cool connector. It's like, I'm from Ontario, and doing this show, so many people have kind of like come in contact with me, like reached out. And it's just a really beautiful way to like check in with people you haven't seen for a second. The power of media, of TV.
Absolutely.
No, it's wild.
Yeah, and so I think that's a great segue into just learning a little bit more about kind of your beginnings of your life. And again, we always say this, like, share whatever you wish. What you don't want to share is totally your comfort level, come as you are. But we love to pull the mask off of our guests and really get to know them for...
Which has happened already.
Totally. Yeah, we have actually, because you're coming in. But we love to learn about, you know, how they got to where they are. Like, you know, what was it like in their family lifestyle? What was it like when they went to school? What was it like
cool
where
question.
they grew up?
I love this.
Like we care about, of course, the things that are you're known for, and we get to that eventually, but we really want to know who you are. Because we're all at the end, we're all at the core of who we are. You know, like you can be asked, you know, well, what about this thing? What about that thing? Well, it doesn't tell us anything about you. It's about what people might want to be basing you for, and that's not what we're about. We want to know who you are.
Well, I'm still on set. I'm here just living my life. I'm at a confessional. I'm trapped in the confessional room. They won't let me leave. They said I was too good at confessionals. Daniel, you can't leave. You just gotta keep narrating the show.
I totally believe it, because it's true. You were fantastic. You were bananas.
Thank you. But yeah, like starting back from like early days, I if you really rewind the tapes, I took dance when I was like in grade 1. My mom took ballet when I was a little kid, and I saw that. I think I went to a recital and I just was like, what are you doing? This looks amazing. Like, I want to sign up for dance class. And my mom was very cool with that. And, you know, we did the damn thing. I danced in that stage. At that time, a lot less boys were taking dance. You know what I mean? That classic trope of like being the one, you know, guy in the class with like 20 other girls. But then that gave me this weird like sense of attention. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, oh my God, it's like, these are my backups dancers.
Yes. Yes, you all report to me.
It's so egotistical. It's like, wow, any traits of narcissism. I'm like, I go back and I'm like, well, there it started. We gave him way too much attention. The dopamine was like flowing. No, but I essentially did that for a couple years. And then I'll be honest, it was tough. I got bullied a lot because of dance. And so there was a pocket there where I was like, okay, I can't do this. I think like, I got held back a grade in dance. And then I really got in my head being like, if I'm a guy and I'm going to take all this bullying, I have to be like the best. And then I had this moment where my ego and we danced a bit and my ego won. And I quit dance. I didn't really explain myself. I kind of put that aside. And it's been one of those things that I remember reflecting on when I was a little bit older, like a teenager. I remember saying to myself, I was like, okay, you kind of quit dance, but let that be the last thing when it comes to like your artistic pursuits that you stop. Like, okay, from here on out, whatever you pick up, let's carry this long term. Because like, there's always been that thought where it's like with dance, you really have to do it from a young age to be conditioned to do it professionally. Like you can take it to a certain point, but like a body almost needs to be like raised doing the discipline that it takes. So it's not that it's coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Everything happens for a reason. But it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, lesson learned, don't stop any other stuff unless it's truly not working. But that's where I think my creative arts, like I was very visual too, painting, drawing, sketching. So those things I was like, okay, this is what we do. Like, this is how we're still creative. And so dance is always like a beautiful thing that's in my heart, but like, I didn't pursue it. I think I started again in high school. Actually, I took a couple more classes when I felt a little more in my skin, confident. And then I would do musicals and stuff like on stage or like things through my high school. Like I definitely still danced, but I didn't take it like I'm not like a competitive dancer or anything.
You know, it's
on the top of the pyramid, Abby Lee.
Yeah, right. It's so unfortunate because we had Miss Mary Murphy on the show from So You Think You Can Dance, and she's just freaking plethora of knowledge and experience. And you know, it's just so interesting because we were just saying the huge differences between like Europe. Like if you were like someone who identifies as a man or a male or a boy in Europe and you go into dance, it's like that's their shtick, that's their thing. No one makes fun of you. It's like it's an art. It's on a pedestal. It's looked up towards. It's like,
and it's evolved now too. It's like I love how many more like male dancers and just like I think the heteronormativity present day compared to like the 90s, we are leaps and bounds, thankfully. So like anyone out there who's feeling bullied, you know, play this right now this podcast and say, keep doing it. Don't listen to the haters. It's so cliche, but it's worth repeating 1,000 times because, then you get to have these beautiful skills for like the rest of your life. I still can't do the splits. I really want to be able to do the splits.
The side splits?
Girl, both. I can't do either. You know what I mean? I'm not
so
gonna.
close.
Girl, if I could do one, I would say I could just do the splits.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Which kind doesn't matter. I can just do them. No, I'm working towards it. It's like a New Year's resolution every year. But
Amazing. That is a very achievable goal. Just work that fascia and that connective
can
tissue.
You do the
and
splits, Hero?
I've gotten close to it. I gotten close being a yoga teacher, but I gotta tell you that those.
It's the yoga.
Yes, but I gotta tell you, those adductors, they are not gonna give in. My internal rotation is like that, and my external rotation is like hello. So I mean, perfect bottom.
I love that.
And there you go.
Oh my God, that's
Everyone.
like the perfect gay yoga instructor joke. You've got a bit right there. You've got a tight 5.
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, I appreciate it. And also just
man.
keep in mind, though age is a number, I believe you and me are the same age, like early 90s, right?
Yeah, 92. My birthday or born.
Same. What's your birth?
Gorgeous.
Hey, Rachel, stop it. What's your birth month?
Me?
Yeah.
March.
Ooh, okay. I'm February, so I just had my 30th.
I'm an Aries.
You're an Aries? Ooh, fire, air, stoking the fire, yes.
I know. I'm a tamed Aries. I used to be insane. Now I'm a little more level-headed. I still can like pop off. My boyfriend will tell you. It's like, has she had a snack? Is it low blood sugar? Like, has she had her coffee or has she had her joint? It's like, there's a lot of, I need my substances. That's why I have Coca-Cola right now. I need to be jazzed for my podcast.
It totally had to have
We're recording after, so I'm like, chatty Cathy.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
I love it. Rachel, what were
you
going to say?
You too.
You're reminding me of what Hero was like yesterday when we were recording. Like, he was so hocked up off caffeine and I was just sitting there like, okay.
Oh my God, am I being lit? I need to contain myself.
No, I love it. I love it.
We're all candid, unhinged. It's all about like mental health and reality and stuff. Like, just come whatever you are.
And you just said some 2 words that are pretty near and dear to our hearts, the mental health component to our podcast. So that's something else that we do kind of weave in to our conversations, just because we both have, I'll just say it plainly, suffered from mental health. Certain things aren't pretty much our whole lives, but just only if you're okay to talk about it, because you did mention about being bullied.
It was so tough. Like, that's so funny. I haven't really talked about this publicly, but it's like, it was a time where I was like, it was difficult as far as like, being faced with that and kind of being like a lone soldier. It makes you grow up fast, right? So it's like, for me, I'm always just like, I still sometimes have to remind myself that I'm in safe spaces now that I've created with my partner, like my chosen family and my biological family. Like, I am so blessed. And, when you zoom out, I have a lot to be thankful for, but growing up, it was tough, there were those points where
was that, you can see that frozen screen, right? Okay.
I can.
Oh, Daniel and Synthia. I don't know if you can hear us. You froze in probably not the most attractive pose. And we might, well, maybe we'll keep it in there. We'll see what you think.
It is definitely confessional worthy.
It's pretty amazing. It's still shocked.
And all the teeth are out.
It's pretty awesome. We'll just wait a couple seconds here. Now we're oh man. Wow. This is it doesn't get more real than that. If you're listening, if you're can't even talk right now. If you're listening to this and you're wondering what is going on, you'll have to watch the YouTube video. I'm getting sweaty now. You have to watch the YouTube video because unfortunately, it's just what happens. This is just what happens with Zoom.
We got a drag queen down. We got a queen down.
It just Zoom. You know what?
The kiss has spoken. The last kiss has sashayed away.
Sometimes these things happen. And I'm making up a song. Sometimes Zoom will have technical difficulties. That was probably one of the best technical difficulties that you could have, with a frozen image of somebody in not a very necessarily attractive pose, but it was still super cute. It was just
super cute.
It was just the perfect moment to freeze a frame.
Oh my God, was it ever?
Oh my goodness. And I wonder if we'll get them back.
I know we'll get them back. Absolutely. I wonder if it was through. I wonder if Synthia was on their phone or like a tablet, maybe the battery died and realized it was low battery.
Possibly. Maybe it was just too much Coca-Cola. It was just.
It could have been like that.
Coca-Cola surge just.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
But what a beautiful person. And I cannot wait to continue the conversation.
I cannot wait to continue the conversation either.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Okay,
hold on. I'm so sorry.
No,
don't be sorry.
Okay. You bless your heart, child. Okay, you know, when you watch this back.
How did I freeze?
It was perfect.
What was I doing? Did I embarrass myself?
No. It wasn't embarrassing. It was just very candid.
Oh my God, amazing.
It'll be totally up to you if you want us to leave that in, but it was pretty magical.
Well, for context, I don't know what they're doing in my building today. They're like clearing out the vent, like air ducts, but it's causing them to like totally turn off the power for a second. That's the second time today. The power has shut down. So if you lose me again,
my God.
I think that'll be it. But
can we do the reenactment though? The reenactment of you?
What did I do? Was I like?
It was like I can't even do it. It's like
it was brilliant. You're let's see if I can do it better.
Like that.
You're like
I was like, oh no, this is a really bad time for the power to go out.
Because you have to record after this as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have shit to do.
Yeah, exactly. I've got shit to do. Like
hello,
where were we? I thought maybe your Coca-Cola like just spilled all over your computer.
No. I sip every drop. Nothing goes to waste with my Coca-Cola.
Okay.
I believe we were talking a little bit about this, not the beginning of it, but you were talking about being bullied a little bit and opening up.
Yeah. Opening up to chapters of childhood trauma.
Yeah, I know.
No, totally. It was just like tough time to grow up, you know, being from a smaller town. Like I like to look back now and see like where Peterborough's at. Like it's even like drag queer, so much more friendly. Like there were pockets of that. It was just like, I was raised Catholic, and so it was extra limited as far as like, I think that dialogue, like, I think there's just a lot of like shame around queerness, queer identities for a while that like my generation, my brother, my cousins, we're all just like these beautiful queer people. And we're just showing the rest of our family that it's like, we're just like everybody else. You know what I mean? It's almost, there's more queer people in that generation of my family than heterosexual. So it's like, it's incredible.
Wow. So it's like you have probably, I'm just maybe putting words in your mouth, but do you feel like you've had to educate people like almost your whole life? Or...
I mean, I think some of it happens organically. Like the people I'm drawn to are almost the people that you don't have to explain yourself to. Like growing up, I had a like tight unit of friends. I went to an integrated arts program. Like me being bullied when I was younger just really helped me figure out, okay, there is a way I can navigate this. So it's more my bad of storytelling, because I was actually very fortunate to go to a high school that celebrated arts. And in that community, there was like this thriving arts scene.
Oh, we love you. Oh,
so
no.
much.
Oh, brother.
Oh, so much.
I know.
Oh, man.
But that's a beautiful still shot.
That's a really beautiful, like,
I really got to thrive. And that's why,
you paused again, but that's okay. You paused.
No. Are we in a retrograde?
No, we're good. But with Zoom though, which you might already know, I know you're on Twitch with your podcast, but whatever you said will be captured, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. It was just paused. So I'm sorry, continue. It was beautiful that time. It was,
No,
I mean, it's
stop
always
me.
beautiful.
I can start back from wherever you didn't hear, just to be safe.
Go ahead, Hero.
No, I think it might have been about 30 seconds or something. It wasn't a lot of time, just about 30 seconds from when you froze to when you were when we saw you moving.
So I went to a really wonderful high school. It had an integrated arts program.
Yes.
So within that community, I felt very safe to be who I was. So it's not as though my whole experience has been like this lonely gay boy. It's like I've had lots of friends. I was very, very fortunate as far as like my upbringing. Still, it wasn't, easy peasy, because that's life. You have to have hardships to appreciate the good times. The most vague truisms I can say ever. You gotta have the hard times and appreciate the good times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You put that on your wall. But essentially, I feel in many ways very blessed, very lucky to have been raised the way I was. But then I also was faced, with a queer father who wasn't super comfortable with his sexuality growing up. And that has its own complications, because you're like, should I be ashamed of my queerness? Because I'm really not. Like, you're almost inadvertently telling me to be less queer for his sake, for his job. And it's like, whoa, I didn't choose to be a Catholic school teacher, like elementary school teacher. I'm just like living my life up in here. So it's, we've like grown, and he has too. And even the show, it was a really cool, like cathartic moment to just like let it all hang out. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dialogue. I'm almost 30, right? Hero is 30.
Don't age me.
Rachel is 17.
Rachel is, that's little.
Wait. No, I went way too low. You're a cute 22.
Yeah,
24. I don't know. I'm just paranoid my power is gonna go out. My brain's like,
no, I know. It's okay. It's okay. We can vibe off of that feeling of like, what's happening? Is it gonna be okay? Just flow with it. Flow with it.
Yeah.
Like a wacky.
I love it.
Does anyone know that reference? Are you guys too young for that? The Wayne's World.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, me and Dan.
No, I know it. I know it. I do know it. Once you said Wayne's World, I don't want to be shady and be like, you could have done it better, Rachel.
I know. Fuck.
I'm kidding though. I didn't want to say that.
No, that's perfect.
Had you had the costume, I would have known.
Yes, that's totally right. And and totally. And again, I remember watching, of course, on the show, you did speak briefly to your relationship about you and your father. And you also were mentioning that other people in your family are queer as well. Did I hear correctly that you have a brother that's gay, or you? Yeah. Okay.
My brother Matthew, he's queer. He's gay as well. And then I have like a handful of other queer cousins: Freddie, Anna, Jonathan. Shout out Emily. There's like so many of us that are like literally. There's actually less straight people, and that always makes me laugh.
Wow.
For the longest time, it was just little old me, and only recently have they been like, "You walked so we could run." I was like, "Damn straight, y'all."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
It's cool to kind of feel like I've blazed a trail even in my own like little family tree. I like that.
Absolutely. What brought you from Ontario to Vancouver? So is it Ontario, Vancouver? Was there something in between?
Ontario's the province. I grew up in Peterborough, and then I went to school. I went to Ryerson, University X.
Yep.
Ooh. So I studied in Toronto.
Did hear that.
And then I worked in Toronto the whole time I was in school. I went to school for fashion design, and then I got swooped up by Kit and Ace, as we mentioned, Hero.
Yeah.
And so they flew me out to work for the head office. And so it was just a time in my life where I was looking for a change. I'd finished school. I was like, let's try Vancouver. Like, let's try a new environment. And then when I moved, I wanted to meet lots of people. So drag was this beautiful catalyst, and the timing felt right. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for this now. Like I had a name. I was like, okay, I'm gonna like enter this competition and go from there. The rest is history.
So that's a great segue as well.
Yes.
So the competition, I don't know that part. I didn't really find anything about that. I'm curious to hear about the infancy of drag, and also your initial inspirations too, because I find that's also really key. It's like, what even put the bug in the ear to be able to go through and do that. And also there are so many elements of drag artistry that are not just performance, but makeup,
Yeah.
hair, clothing, and
Mhm.
you have part of that background initially, which probably also helped you get inspired for that as well. So that's a lot to
Totally.
unpack. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's unpack it.
Let's
We've got
untuck that
we've got
shit.
we've got carry on. We've got full suitcase to
We
unpack, y'all.
got the dog and the undercarriage.
Coming up after the break. No, but essentially, like the desire to do drag. Do you remember me saying, a lot of attention in those dance classes? There is that honest part of you that like gets, the craving of like being an entertainer and making other people feel great, and just like people coming together, working together hard on something like a show family is so beautiful. And I was exposed to that through dance, through theater, since I was a child. So I'm very familiar in that. And I kind of missed it. When I went to Ryerson, I really focused in on like fashion design, really dove into that. And I kind of let the performer in me sit on the shelf. And so when I was going to Vancouver, I was like, okay, maybe I can balance these out. Like maybe I can do a little bit of performing, like dip my toes through drag. Like it's the fashion design that I've always had. It's my love of smart, brilliant women like Tina Fey, Maya Rudolph, Amy Poehler, just like Kristen Wiig, that energy, plus like award show gowns. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like such a fun, enigmatic combination of like womanity. It's just like fierce and funny. I don't know. That very much inspires me. And so all these things combined, I was like, let's do it. Let's make this Synthia Kiss a real thing.
So, okay, had you not done any drag before Drag Race then?
Oh my God, no. I mean, yeah, no, I did drag. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm probably not I'm probably not telling the story properly, because essentially when I moved to Vancouver, I joined a competition called the Brat Pack Recruit, and I won. And then I was part of Brat Pack for a couple years in Vancouver. We had a weekly show on Davie Street at the Junction Pub. I love those girlies. Those are my bandmates, my ride and dies. Not everyone gets along anymore, but I like still talk to everybody. I'm from a broken home, so I'm used to the talking over here. But essentially, we together as a collective, had a weekly show on Thursdays for multiple years, and then I pieced out from the group because I was trying to balance career and drag at the same time. But for a minute there, it was just my design work was like full throttle. It takes it out of you to like be a professional creative, and I was just burning the candle, both ends of the stick. So I was like, I need to piece from at least this group. I can still do drag, but I just can't be part of a collective right now. It's like, it's bigger than me. Maybe I was scared. Maybe it was just like moving too fast. But anyway you slice it, I took a knee and took some time off from drag. And that's why on the show, a lot of times it was mentioned, you're coming out from retirement. Synthia has been dead for years. It's like, I was like, no, I'm alive. It's just like a balance thing. And, people get, people, if you're not out and about, people forget about you. And therefore it is that dramatic, like re-entering, but I love that. It's dramatic. It's like, I'm back.
Yes.
I have arrived.
You're not old enough to be like, hey, I'm coming back, guys, for like
leave it to, but you know what I mean? Leave it to the gays.
I know.
Leave it to the
so
gays.
True though. Exactly. It's like, oh my God, TikTok, what the
they're
fuck?
Like, how is she bow? Where did she bow?
Yeah, exactly. Are we seeing a mere cast of her? Are we seeing them in the flesh?
Yes. And I'm very socially awkward. So there's those times where I lay low. My profile, I'm very chill. Like I'll go out, like support the girls and everything, but for the most part, I'm a homebody. So there are times where if people don't see Synthia, it's not because I don't, want to do this. It's just that like, I have to be mindful of my boundaries and how much energy it takes, and just like finding that balance of like pushing myself, but then not driving myself crazy.
Are you very sensitive to like environments or to people? Like, are you an empath in that sense? So perhaps that,
I've never considered
that's a label, but
no, totally. I love that term, striking a dialogue as far as like maybe where those empathic qualities come from, because there is always that. I've been seeing these like TikToks recently where it's just like, if you're an empath, it's just because when you grew up, you had to be hyper vigilant of like your environment to stay safe. And therefore now you enter environments thinking that way. And that resonates. I don't call myself an empath, but there were those times where, just for safety growing up, even at home, just like gauging the temperature, gauging energies. And so I still do that. And as an entertainer, you know, it's a lot of those moments, it's like eyes are all focused on me back. And so it's a thrill, it's a rush. I love it. I never want to come off as ungrateful or, you know, unappreciative. I love making people feel great. And it just is one of those things that I devote certain time for. And then it's like a big moment. It's like a kaboom. And then I just gotta like kind of squirrel back for a second, recharge, and, you know, focus on different pots. Like sometimes it's social media things. Sometimes it's like video content creation days. I haven't done a live gig in a while. COVID kind of threw us for a second. So I'm, you know, getting into doing that again. So it's kind of just like shifting gears and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if I'd call myself an empath, but I would be sensitive. I like to be mindful of like my actions and how they affect other people. You know what I mean?
And maybe you're someone also that like when you want to give something, you want to give it your all. So you kind of don't want to like, you know, have too much going on and then just have like your, you know, a little bit of Synthia here, just a little bit of Synthia there, or Daniel, or, you know, you want to be able to give, you know, the best of you that you can, perhaps.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, what I find interesting as well is because you joined from a community and came into a community from moving into Vancouver. A lot of people, I've been told, because I'm like, me and Rachel are born and raised Vancouverites. She's from the North Shore. I'm from, so sorry.
Come on, man.
This is like what the fifth time I fucked that up. She was born in Ontario. So she was born in Toronto. She was born in Toronto. Oopsie.
You're like just getting it wrong.
You know me for
just kidding.
Rachel's like, Rachel's actually from London, England, and she lost her accent.
Don't even ask me to do an accent because it will sound Jamaican, Irish, German, and something else.
Get you canceled.
Yeah, exactly. But my point being is that born in Ontario, Toronto, but, you know, grew up in North Vancouver though. And as people that are from Vancouver, I'm curious to know what your experience was both culturally and socially with yourself in Vancouver, because of course there's lots of stereotypes and lots of comments about Vancouver culture, community, social culture that can be very cliquey or be very isolating or very kind of exclusive. Did you feel that though, given the fact that you were part of different groups and communities as a way of integrating into the city from the start?
I got really lucky. The reason I was moving here was for work, and work is always a beautiful catalyst to meet people. Like basically, you know, it was a fashion brand. It's got a lot of interesting people on the payroll. So that was really, really cool. And, you know, very quickly, I just found myself integrating people. It's a combination of putting yourself out there and the vulnerability, the willingness to kind of, you know, be seen or rejected. I don't know. That's life. I had heard that about Vancouver, but I didn't find it, but maybe that was just because I got really lucky with a great base of friends and, you know, I've got a nice personality.
My God, I love that. I love that. I got to tell you, and this is a compliment. I want to be very clear. It's not a read, but when you just said that, I've got a nice person. That kind of reminded me of like a Jewish woman. Like,
oh, I love that.
That kind of like gave me that kind of like
New York
as the
Jewish
biggest
vibe.
Compliment. Okay, good. I'm glad because I'm just like, again, when you talk about that, I'm really thankful for you to be able to have that. Because even for me being a local in Vancouver, my social culture, my social energy, and being very non-seen, but being very queer in spirit, I even feel like it's very cliquey, and I'm not really sure where to put myself to feel comfortable.
I blame the rain. It makes us all like have to stay inside a lot. And then it's like when it's nice out, you're like, I don't know you yet.
Yes.
Who are you?
Yes, exactly.
I don't know. It's like we're all antisocial. I blame the internet for that. You know what I mean? In some ways,
that's true too.
You know,
I agree. And
but things like podcasts bring us together. Thank you, listeners.
They do though. And again, let's chat about your podcast a little bit too. We don't have to end with that, but let's go into that a little bit because
my God, yes.
And Boxx are doing that podcast, and I've been following it and stuff from our page on my personal page.
Yes, I just saw that too.
Super excited. So
thank you, hero.
How long have you had it now?
We just started. This was
That's
like,
what I thought.
We just like hit the ground running.
Amazing.
So it's semi-qualified queens with Boxx and Synthia Kiss. We are starting our podcast reviewing Drag Race UK versus the world.
Right.
So we're doing a bit of a recap
Fantastic.
show, but then we're also lining up some sickening interviews, such as yourselves, to do sit downs with, other drag queens, people in the drag community, wonderful queer folk. And so we'll sprinkle in interview series between recap seasons of whatever billionth version of Drag Race there is out there to review. There's always one coming. There's always a bus coming.
Yes.
There's always a Drag Race bus coming, and you got to review it. We got to talk about it.
Yes.
We got to talk about it.
Yes.
Now,
and from a Canadian perspective.
And
totally, because we had Canadians on, the international version, so it's really fun to just know them from season 1. Me be a huge fan. I love Jimin. I love Lemon. I love Jimbo.
Yes. That's
what I meant to say.
Jimon,
or Limbo.
Limbo. I don't know.
The Big Lebowski.
Limbo. I love that. Yes.
Oh, Limbo. That's good. That's good.
We'll put that in the maybe pile.
Or the Big Lebowski.
Oh my! I love Jimbo too.
Oh my goodness! No, but I love
exciting.
Jimbo. Their energy is amazing, and so it's been really fun to talk about each episode. And we're going to be in your ears every Friday. Little TGIF treat in your ears. Juice and I are having a blast. So it's
amazing.
It's coming out. It'll be out this week.
Amazing. And what I love though is that also, Juice, unfortunately was eliminated in the first episode of the inaugural debut of the show in season 1.
Yeah.
But which is heartbreaking. And I'll admit I didn't because I'm not, again, I'll admit, like, got exposed to drag culture a little bit when I was a teenager and just hearing about certain queens in the community, but I really am a reality TV addict. So that mainstream drag culture is how I was exposed to all those different communities. And the power of social media is great for learning about other people in the community too. Because girl, I'm in bed at midnight. Like, I don't go to shows. I don't drink or do anything. I never have. So like, it's not my right environment to be seen in those communities. But my point for that anecdote is seeing people like yourself and Juice on these productions and showcasing our city, our province. It's amazing that 2 queens from 2 different seasons are coming together and have that shared vision. So what I'm curious about is, did you know Juice Boxx from the community and like through shared social circles, or is this started from being on the show and being connected?
I knew of Juice, huge fan. I used to live in Toronto, right? So she's been doing drag for a little bit longer than me. And I've always loved what I've seen. And then since the show, I got to do certain gigs, certain opportunities where we'd be crossing paths a little bit more. And it wasn't until we actually did some shows together that it was like, oh, we can actually volley, we can vibe. Like, this could be a really great thing. And it actually was my booker, Tommy. He saw us at a live show and he was like, that's your co-host. Like, that could be your podcast co-host.
Yes.
And from there, we were like, should we do this? We knew there were going to be Canadians on this international version of the show. And it was like, do we do this now? And we just kind of went for it. And it's been a blast. I actually really love the structure in my week. Funny enough. Like, I'm like, the episodes are out right now. And it's like, okay, do my thing, watch the episode, talk about it. And it's been a really great reason to reach out to all the beautiful, amazing people that I get to meet doing what I do. It's a fabulous chance. I'm sure you guys find this with your podcast as well. It's a cool sit down, hour to just check in with someone and get to know them a little bit more. So I'm loving it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. It's fantastic because I would say the majority of interview formats are much shorter. Excuse me. Yeah. So like whatever your talk shows, whatever interview kind of format, even print, like whatever it is, right? So the podcast format is just, that is, I think, the beauty of podcasts.
You can just talk and talk.
I know.
Right?
Exactly.
Talk.
Exactly.
But just really, it is fun, but you get to dive deeper into things about human beings that, we're not just these surface-based, like 15 minutes of fame people or whatever you want to call it. It's so much more than that. So that's what I love about the podcast too, right?
Well, I'll take my 15 minutes and I will
you're
run
gonna have
with
more
them.
than that.
You're gonna
I'll run with them.
You will have way more than that. But what I want to connect on as well is it's the humility. I think that's really key. And
for me, it's the humidity. It's just so stinking hot in here.
I wish it was. I'm not a winter person.
It seems like
I
a
love
joke.
that. That's a perfect
humility is everything.
Yes.
Hero. It's really important.
Yeah, because I won't say anything because I'm not going to say it, but like I looked at my phone when you were just kind of when your connection cut, and I saw a message from somebody that I reached out to today that I really look up to, that I would never even think they would even be interested in connecting. That's very prolific in the queer community, and Rachel doesn't know this yet either.
I
And
saw
they said-
Rachel's face.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
like,
like,
yeah, they're like,
this?
who? And they said,
I have
and
a
they
lot of facial expressions.
and they
as
said
you
they're
can tell.
completely down. Like they were
Mm.
like they direct messaged our account and like I would love to be on the show. And I'm like, I just messaged you a few hours ago. Like, how the hell did you even see my message? I thought it would have been filtered.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that maybe it's different because of the hard work you've done and the exposure you've had? Maybe it's a little bit different in saying, hey, do you want to be on the show? Or hey, do you want to connect? Or maybe they might reach out to you without you even initiating. But do you know what I mean? Like, do you find there's a sense of almost shock or feeling kind of like you're not worthy, or you're worthy, but you didn't think that someone would ever be interested in connecting with you?
Oh, I mean, I love it. Like for right now, we're definitely going into our little Rolodex of like friends and like colleagues and stuff through the show too. That's a beautiful kind of common public project that it's like, hey, Eve, do you want to sit down for an interview? Like, and we just shoot the shit. So I'm looking forward to the momentum of guests that it'll, hopefully be really fun to listen to. And then more people, it's that momentum thing. More people want to do it, sit down. But I always have that imposter syndrome where I'm like, oh my God, will they even care? But you just kind of, I like to silence that. And just like you did today, you're like, I'm going to message this person. And if they leave me on red, whatever, like, you know what I mean? At least you're going for it. I'd much rather you send 10 messages. There can be 99 messages in a room and you just have to get a response from one of them.
Yes, exactly. And that exposure too. And so what I admire and love about the fact is that, myself and Rachel, again, like you build everything from the ground up, and that's what shows all the process. And when you start to see the momentum build, which I feel our podcast is starting to get some of that momentum, it might not look like it, but you realize how much blood, sweat, and tears you put into, how much spirit you put into it. And I'm glad that you have the exposure of what you have accomplished and what you have done, because it'll give you those people that will be able to be like, yes, I know so-and-so, and they're going to follow, and
it's really cool. I feel very lucky. And I love that idea of, most importantly, the fan base who wants to listen. Like it's one amazing feat to have someone agree to come on to the show, but it's also, to me, even more epic that I have like people listening in, tuning in, like buying my merch, like supporting me through cameos. Like shout out to the Synthia stands. Like I don't talk about you enough. Like I love you guys to the nth degree, because you guys have got me through this year. It keeps me motivated. It keeps me, eye on the prize. And so it's a really beautiful thing to have this show now. I get to connect with them on a weekly basis. So it's very cool.
I have a question then about, because you had said before that you have not done anything live shows for how long now?
Oh, a couple months. Like I need to get back out there. Yeah.
Okay, so it's been like too long.
But... No, it's just you know what I mean. That I'm telling you, babe. If you don't get out there, they're like, where'd you go? Did you die? You dead or something? What is wrong with you? And I'm like, oh my God, give me a second. I'm just like, I'm breathing, but
So do you have or is there something in motion? Do you have...
Oh, totally. I have I definitely have a show at 1181 on the 20th. Is it the 21st? Because my birthday's the 23rd. 1181. I don't know if your episode will be out. But I have a show that night, and then we're gonna go to Montreal at the end of March.
Wow.
Montreal. If you have some Quebec listeners. Check us out. It's going to be a Brat Pack show, and we're going to bop around a little bit ourselves. Fun. We're gearing up for DragCon later in the year. We're going to LA. So there's stuff in motion. There's wheels, in motion.
When is that? When is that in Los Angeles?
Mid-May. You guys should come.
I would be gagged to come. Oh my God. That would be absolutely beautiful
amazing
to see everybody there. Oh my God.
Oh, it's going to be everyone. All the queens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It'll just be like,
Hero, we'll need to get we'll just have to walk around with microphones.
For the audio listeners, it's just silent.
Yes, absolutely. It'll just be like, watch our show.
Hero was looking back and forth very dramatically.
Yes, right.
I was gobsmacked.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's lots happening. And so I'm just really excited of the projects I've got on in the works. Like I'm writing music right now. Like there is lots to do. Yeah, my weeks are full, and I'm very happy with surrounding myself with talented, cool individuals, and that's always been a thrill of mine, and I get to do that right now. So it's been really, really cool.
Yeah. I have to say, congratulations on like just having the guts and to just live. I can't stand the live your truth thing.
Live your truth.
But like I just had no other way of saying it.
But you have to.
I know, but it just sickens me. I just hate those.
But I know the intention behind it, and I know what you mean. And so thank you for calling that out, because that's taken a long time, as every single human on this planet knows. I think that's part of the human experience, is to understand, know thyself, know your boundaries, all those things within them. And then you start to kind of figure out what you're good at. And sometimes I don't feel like I'm good at this, and I still have to power through. You have good days, you have bad days. Yeah. And hopefully in between all that, you make people happy, you inspire people, and you leave your mark.
Well said.
Completely.
And there's always, like, I'm not a huge risk taker, I'm not an extreme risk taker, but life is risks. They're like, even, just take a small risk.
And totally.
A risk.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh my God, I took a hip hop dance class today. That was my risk of the day.
Oh wow!
I shouldn't have done I shouldn't have done advanced choreo. It got to a point where the instructor was like, "We can break it down one more time, or we can just keep going." And I'm like, "Just keep going. Like I'm not gonna get this. Like I'm clearly not gonna get this." So I think I need to do a simpler level of dance ability. It was once again taming the ego. I was like, "I can do this. Yeah, I got this." Like I'm sickening. I'm not really much of a hip hopper. Don't let this little beanie fool you. So yeah, that was my my risk for the day. But you gotta go for them. You gotta do it.
You gotta for sure.
Yeah, you just gotta.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just to correlate with that too, I mean, I can't speak for Rachel, but for me, like it's the first year I did not renew my teaching insurance or anything else that would have happened.
Yoga. I didn't either. I didn't either this year. I didn't renew it.
But it's the first year in 10 years of me being in this industry and doing it full time, 25 classes a week, every day of the week, hustling around the city without a car, like doing that, and to be able to trust that intuition to know this is not serving me right now, maybe in the future, but this is not serving me. And even walking away from minimum wage retail, which I love, but I'm like, this isn't serving me. I'm going to be comfortable being uncomfortable and wait for those things to come and be the best version of myself possible, because only you as a human can measure your own worth, and if you don't, then you also have to be validated, but you have to still be your own conduit for that to happen, and then trust others will see it if you need them, and they will. The right people will come. And that's what happened with you. You came into COVID, you were working with MEC, got let go. You applied for Drag Race Canada. You were brought into the production. And so
I do feel very lucky. Like for those listening, I don't want it to seem like, sometimes that could have panned out a different way. Like me not getting on the show is this be all end all. Cause I know for so many who audition, you don't hear yes. And I've heard a lot of no's in my life. Like there have been many plans where things have shifted. Like drag reality TV for me in so many ways felt like one lane, but like there's so many to take that I want people out there listening to know that you just have to be optimistic and listen to great opportunities when they're presented. Sometimes you can't like force an opportunity. It's like, it's the ones that show up. I know for a huge fact, like me being part of the Brat pack was maybe why I was part of this season, like it all kind of helps in tandem. And so it's those small choices like 5 years ago to do that drag competition that then somehow leads to something bigger. So that's my example where it's like, don't necessarily think that like the stuff that's in front of you don't have big impact. They can lead to big things if you want them to.
Agreed. And I think something I would love to end off on a little bit is really kind of
said.
Very well said. Very well said. Is your process of applying for the show and kind of not, you don't have to give, like, we don't, again, as I said, like, we're not so caught up about like the superficial stuff, but from your personal perspective of applying and being on the show and like what that process was like, we've heard things from other individuals about the general process, but what was your process like? What was your mental, emotional process like?
I was really scared, actually. I had this weird confidence. I didn't audition the first year, and so this is my first time auditioning, and there was one point where I was like literally sitting on my bed, like being like, oh my God, I'm about to do this. I'm about to do this. And my partner sits down next to me and he was like, why are you scared? Like, you're probably not going to get on.
Mhm.
And I was like, it made me laugh. He always
Yeah.
makes me laugh. He takes me out of the seriousness of it all. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? You're so fucking right. Like, and I felt like that was a mental reset right before I recorded, that I was like, not fuck this, fuck you guys, but rather if I'm going to audition, I'm just going to give it 100% me, whatever feels right. The little funny jokes in between stuff, make them laugh. That would be my advice. Like the musical.
Yeah.
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 Do actually take that to heart, because you know a good audition for that show would be entertaining, and you know that includes comedy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just kind of leaned into it. I did green screen in a dream, like literally did it all in my apartment, and I was like, they either think this is the weirdest, craziest thing in the world, or you know they're gonna vibe, and they vibed.
That's so amazing. Oh my gosh. What a story, like what a journey you've been on in the past.
It's so annoying. I feel
couple
like
of
I'm the
years.
most annoying story for any other drag queen who's been like hustling so hard, and I'm like, just take a break, like just
Hey, but
audition
I
once
vibed. Didn't
and
vibe.
just like
Great.
just get on, make sure you vibe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is,
No.
I feel very blessed. I do feel very lucky.
yeah.
I see that too. I really do. You're
I'm
not
very
Yeah.
grateful. Very
Yes.
grateful.
Yeah.
And how did it feel for yourself to be, because again, they're just people too. That's what I always like to say, regardless if you're in the camera or not. What did it feel like to be exposed to, again, your fellow queens, and some of obviously you know very well, and you're all in, you don't know anything. You literally come into like complete unknown, right? So your reactions are your reactions. But what was it like being around someone like Brooklyn Heights, or being around other people that you might have looked up to, or you might have thought these are maybe intangible people that I might never meet, and then you see them? Like, what was your personal feeling like? What did your connection feel like, if you had one with those, like anybody on the in the production?
Well, I always looked up to Brooke just because she's so tall. I ruined my joke. I stumbled on my words.
That's great.
No, it was really scary the whole time. I thought I would get there and love the runways and just like eat it up. But I got there, and you tango your anxiety way more than I thought I would. Like, when you think about something for so long, you're like, oh my God, this is like my 1-2 takes to do this. Like, don't fuck it up. Like, that's what they say. And so you're there just knowing the gravity of the situation. It's adrenaline times 1,000.
Right.
You just basically conjure up this strength. It's basically what you got, you know, and if you don't have it, that's totally fine. Like, that's what makes the show so interesting. Those moments where it's like you're publicly failing and everyone's like, oh, she fell, you know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff. But you have to go for it anyways. Like that willingness to fall flat on your face
to lean
is what a performer has to do. And you're almost like a jester in some ways. It's like, okay, I'm going to give myself to this. And so at times in front of the judges, it's scary because they're critiquing it, especially the things you've made. Like we spent so much energy and time making our looks. And then there'd be times where they're just like, I don't like it. I don't get it. And you're like, but it's so hard to sew.
Well,
That's what you want to say. But you learn and you see yourself back on TV. There's things I change. There's always, you know, All Stars. There's always a chance to maybe go back to the Thunderdome if they ask. So I would love the chance to have a little bit of a glow up. Why not? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think it would be great for you to be brought back. And I mean, again, I don't know. I'm just speaking of just reality trending. I mean, eventually they're going to have a, I think UK versus the world or some adaptation will continue, and more.
Oh, I would hope so. I'm loving it.
It's fantastic, and I can't wait to watch it later. I have not watched it yet. I'm going to my mom's after this, and I'm going to watch it. But I'm like, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the growth of Canadian culture through drag and through the LGBTQ plus community. And
well, it's almost it's more like that. It's been there. Like the Canadian culture is there. It's always been there. Like the drag scene. But what's amazing is that it gets to be exposed. It gets to be shown on this level. That's what I think you're touching on. Is it's like Jimbo's always been doing Jimbo. But now millions of people get to see, and that's what I think is so bloody cool, because it's art, it's such well thought out performance theater, the costuming, the whole act. I can't get enough. I'm such a Jimbo stan, and it's been incredible to be on that international platform.
I think that like one of the last things I'll say is just about being Canadian and being, you know, in that realm. I think for any Canadian, I feel like more difficult. We're always feeling like we're kind of like climbing or being compared against the
Right.
US, or it just seems to be more of a slog or more of a grind, perhaps. I don't know if do you ever feel that way?
Well, it's population
Like
density. There's as
yes,
many
yes.
Canadians as there are in California. Like
Yes.
that's just science. That's science. That's math. It's like literally.
I got it.
One of the core
geometry.
curriculars. Yeah.
So if you think about it, there's just actually that many more Americans to then be
Yes,
competitive with
for
each
sure.
other, and then
For
bubble
sure.
talent rises to the top.
Sure.
That isn't to say there isn't really talented people all over Canada. Like sometimes we get to be the dark horse in situations where it's like a lot of talent has come out of Canada over the years, and we like to be surprised each and every time. But it's like,
oh, they're Canadian.
No,
oh my God.
This was a nurtured environment. Like this is like, I got very lucky growing up. I was exposed to some privileged things, like a great theater, like a local theater production to be part of, like a company to be part of, the arts program I talked about. Like this takes funding, that is a privilege. So I always felt very, very blessed to get to grow up in that. And then that kind of helped me later in life. Like when I was doing that musical and people were like, whoa, you can sing. I'm like, it's because I had chances to learn sort of how to quasi do this.
Yes.
And I feel very lucky for those moments.
Absolutely. And before we fully let you go, I just want to commend you for, again, even though you must get it like hammered over the head tons of times, your impression of Rachel Zoe is priceless.
Thank you.
It is priceless. Yeah. And someone that did watch the Zoe Project and watch Brad.
Yay!
I did watch that growing up, and I didn't know Brad was Canadian. I'm assuming he's Canadian if he's on Canada's Drag Race. So I was like, oh, like this is absolutely. I'm sure he was like, oh my God, this is actually happening right now. Like I can just, the way they caught that on editing, I think was just completely real. And so I can imagine in person of you that like, and we're rolling. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get that shit going, man.
Well, it was actually nerve-wracking. I was like, hey, I'm doing this in front of Brad. It has to be funny enough that it doesn't look cringy or insulting, because it's like it could go so south so quickly to like Lagrange's time that she did Rachel. So like the only reason I did it is because Brad was there, and I was like, oh, this is too good. I love Rachel. Like I had just listened to her podcast episode with Paris Hilton, right before I left to film. So I had her in my ears for like an hour and something as I was sewing, and she basically just like talks like this.
She does.
She talks like everything is a hyperbole. Honestly, like the sky was falling today. Could I have any more things happen to me? Oh yeah, and I have to pick up my kids from karate practice. Like it's just like, do you know what I mean? She's just like, she knows she's being over the top, but she leans into it. She's like making fun of herself.
Yeah, exactly.
And so she's a really fun character. She was probably a crazy boss, though. I could feel that energy.
Probably. And also just because it's relevant, like how Gottmik did Paris Hilton. The same thing. Like, oh, Paris, we're filming. Oh shit. So we want to thank you so much for being, again, a guest on our show and coming into our homes and having us in your confessional. And it's just absolutely just very humbling. So thank you for your time, and we'll put all that information in the show notes. We know, as well as having Kendall, that you are going on tour again for season 2 with Boxx events. So that's fantastic. That'll be so much fun. You have such an incredible summer coming up with DragCon and all your other performances. And we're following you on social media, your podcast, and your Synthia Kiss handle as well. And we hope to keep in touch. And I'm sure
absolutely
see you in Vancouver as well.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll come to a performance because we're due.
Come to 1181. Let's do it.
That would be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a show, and I'm going to kind of treat it like my 30th birthday. So I think that'd be fun.
That would be
big
so
3-0.
fantastic.
Ooh.
I was like, I can tell you from my experience, it's actually just, it's very humbling. It's very humbling.
Just stop.
You're like,
young little chickadees.
Well, I was just like, wow, we're doing reality TV at 30. I love this for me. Really didn't see it in the cards, but that's the thing about the cards. You don't know what they're gonna look like.
Totally. I get it.
But listen, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Hero. Literally, this is so cool. If you like hearing me talk, check out Semi-Qualified Queens out every Friday where you get podcasts.
Yes.
If you follow me on Insta, just climb that link tree. Everything's there.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And
have fun recording.
Amazing. Yes.
Thanks. Oh no, that's not a segment. We gotta hurry up. We gotta wrap. I got a heart out. I'm just kidding. You have all my time.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye. See ya. Bye.
Ciao. Thanks.
Bye.